Hello and welcome to Audrey the ICONN Adventures. I'm Connie.
And I'm Daryl.
And this is Audrey the ICONN. So Daryl, after 6 weeks on the road and over 8,500 kilometres, I've written down a few questions for us to run through from our trip just to see whether we're on the same page or not.
Okay then, wonderful.
Okay. So the first question is, what was the best experience that you had over the last 6 weeks?
The best experience was ticking...
Other than being with me, of course.
Well, okay. Everything else just pales in comparison, my dear. Anyway, on a slightly more serious note, no, that's very serious actually, everything else does pale. No, my favourite experience would be ticking off a bucket list of doing Skytrek at Willow Springs. It was... You can see I'm struggling for words to describe it. It was just that much of an awesome day out.
And it was the whole day.
It was. We got on the track at 8:30. I think we were one of the first people on track. It was 5:15 when we got off track. We were the last people off track. Everybody else went past us. Just everywhere we drove, everywhere we turned, it was just spectacular scenery. We saw plenty of wildlife of all shapes and sizes. The mountains on either side of the valley that we drove through, when we drove up the valley and then drove across the back and then came back the other side of that mountain range.
It's like you're in different places each time.
The ochre walls in the creek. I know it cost us $70 to do that experience, and it was that cost because we camped there. It was probably the best $70 I spent on the whole holiday for me. Just everything that happened throughout that entire day, and I'm glad we got just about all of it on the dash cam, and we got some footage to share with our friends and family here. The footage that we share with you and the photos just aren't a pinch on doing it. It's something that I would say, if you get the opportunity, do Skytrek. It is a must. That's just how wow it was for me. What was your best experience?
I enjoyed Skytrek as well, but the flight over and then the chance to go and walk on Lake Eyre, just to the edge. Obviously, you can't walk actually out on it, and when you try, you sink anyway. So, but to actually fly over and see it full of water, and I did record the whole way and then filled up my whole phone with the recording. But it was pretty awesome. We had a really, really good pilot as well that gave us a great history over the thing. And, the whole thing out there was just brilliant. We drove out to 2 different points for the lake.
Yep.
While we were there. We didn't see the pelicans on the lake, but I got rewarded with them later. But we did see, a lot and learned a lot of history about the place. And I think that was really fab.
Yeah.
Something you don't do every day, and I probably won't do again.
No, let's face it, you've got to have a big rain event for Lake Eyre to be as impressive as it was. And it was. The flight wasn't cheap. Well and truly worth it, though, to, again, tick it off and say, hey, been there, done that, got to experience it. And, it was awesome. And I remember when we went out the afternoon that we arrived in William Creek, we went out to Halligan Point, and seagulls. Right, we're hundreds of kilometres from the beach, and there were seagulls there, and it was like, oh, who brought the fish and chips? It was that sort of thing. It was just like, it was a pretty wow moment, I must admit, yeah.
It would have been cold by the time I got out there.
Yeah, the fish and chips would have been, yes. Question number 2. What was your favourite campground and why?
I would have to say Kurraguba. Okay, that we've just recently been there. We stayed there with camping friends, which made it extra special. But the actual canyon itself was just, one of those things where you just go, wow, and it makes you feel so small and insignificant. But at the same time, we did drives around and walks through there, and it was just absolutely beautiful. And it stretches for miles. It's the second largest canyon in the world, and you can see why. Like, it's just beautiful. And interesting, it had history as well, it had geology, it had a bit of everything there, so it was really good. And it also had wombats and kangaroos and all the other little birdies and stuff that we could see. So, it was an absolutely awesome place.
Yes, enjoyed our time at Kurraguba for sure. We had 3 nights there, it was great.
And a flowing creek as well. Not that it was warm enough to go in, but it was flowing and it was sandy bottom. So in summer, it probably would be crowded, but it would be a good spot in summer as well as winter.
For sure.
And what about you?
Favourite campground was night number 7. So very early on.
Lambert's
Centre, the dead centre of Australia. And we got to camp there. And we were the only people there. As we drove in, there was one car drove out. They'd obviously been in, done the photo and taken off. We went in there and we did a couple of photos with the monument there and signed the book, and then just picked a spot away from the monument a bit in case anybody else came along, and set ourselves up, super basic setup like we've got behind us here now. And then the weather turned on us and decided it wanted to rain on us during the night, and it was like, we're like 15 kilometres in from the main road here, which was dirt as well, and it's like, strikes, I hope it didn't rain so much that we can't get out. That aside, just where we're in the dead centre of Australia, and so it takes a lot of effort to get there. Even if you drive on the blacktop for most of the way, you still got to drive a whole 100 odd k's or whatever on the dirt to get in there, and it's the last sort of 14, 15 k's can be a little bit how you're going with ruts and washouts and the rest of it, and it's bull dust type sand to drive through.
And we saw the wild camel.
And on our way to Lambert's, we saw our one and only wild camel. I've wanted to see camel for years, so we got to see him.
He ran very fast, so we didn't get very good photographs of him.
He's very camera shy.
Not like the emus.
Yeah, so Lambert's for me was definitely my favourite campground. Is not that it's truly a campground as such. It's a location where you're allowed to camp, keep it clean obviously. It was a wow place to be, I really thought. Like, you can't get any further from everywhere else in Australia than that spot right there.
And the significance of it, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I put that on a list that it's one of those places, if you can, you should go and have a visit.
Make sure you're self-contained though, because the toilets there are a bit...
Yeah, a bit eaten by the termites. Might be the best way to,
shall we say.
Yeah, a bit way to describe. So yeah, make sure you got your own loo. Yeah, it was great.
Okay, question number 3. Here's one for you. Best wildlife experience.
Oh wow, this one blew my mind. It was while we were doing Skytrack actually. So to combine combine Skytrack and this particular experience, this is why I was so buzzed about it before when we were talking about it. We're right near the end of the track, and we're on one of the lookout mountains there, and it's the
freezing cold.
It was very cold. The wind was belting through, and there's a pillar there that's got an arrow on it, and then when you sign up to do Skytrack, they give you a brochure, and on the back cover is it's almost like a sundial thing that you pop on there, line up the arrow, and then all the arrows point to all the things that you can see on a lovely clear day. And it was great. We could see just about everything. As while we're up there, probably, I don't remember how high that was, 700-800 metres up. 700 metres, I'm going to say, without checking the numbers, right? Up there, and the wind's belting through because it was like 4:30ish in the afternoon. This wedge-tail eagle comes up from the valley below and comes up and soars right over the top of us and soars around us and back down, and because of the way we're on top of the hill here, he's just soaring on the current that's just pushing up off the front side of the mountain where we're standing. Didn't flap his wings once, and he's just there. I grabbed my phone, which is what I was using for video and photo at the time, and I took about a minute of video and about 20 seconds of it's actually on the bird, because I just couldn't see him through the screen, unfortunately. It was just blew me away. This 1.5 to 2 metre tip-to-tip wedgie was just there. It felt like I could reach out and touch this guy. And at one point he came in and had his legs down as if he was getting ready to grab something. And it was like, oh, how good's this going to be? And then whatever he was chasing obviously was able to hide, and it didn't happen. That was the just
get some good photos.
Most awesome wildlife experience for the entire trip for me. It just absolutely blew me away, this wedge tail being, I don't know, 20, 30 feet away from me. Or for you younger people, maybe 10 metres or so. It was just out there. It was awesome. Oh, well, anyway, I'll settle down a bit now. So what was your favourite wildlife experience?
I'm tossing up. You know how much I like all the different birds that we've seen. So the pelicans have been awesome. The emus have been awesome. The kookaburras have been awesome. The parrots. But I think it'll have to be the yellow-footed rock wallabies that I go with. So we're going through Burkina Gorge, and there's a breeding area that they've put aside because they're an endangered species. And so I got excited. I saw them there the first day that we went through, because we went back through a second day. And so we stood there and I took photos of them, but they were quite a ways away from us. And the next day we went for another drive through, and we actually stopped to look at something we'd missed the day before. And cheeky little ones poke out of the rocks where we were trying to take pictures of the rocks, and they ran past it. Like, one was literally from here to the camera away, which is not very far, ran through past me and across the other side. And they were playing back and forth across the road for quite a while. Not ideal. It's a road and it's a kangaroo, but anyway. And then the funny part was this tourist bus that pulled up, and they just sort of disappeared. And I thought, oh, they're gone. And as soon as the tourist bus left, they came out and started playing with us again. And we were there for quite a long time.
Yes.
Watching them, but got lots and lots of photographs of them through. And it's good to see that the conservation stuff that they've been doing is actually having an impact on.
To be able to see them and this is in the middle of the day, like 12:30 in the day, so not at your typical skip your clock around dawn, dusk and a little bit either side. Yeah, this is the middle of the day in Burkina Gorge. It's just incredible. And we didn't only see 2 or 3 of them. Over the 2 days, we would have seen 50 or 60 of them, I suppose.
Easily, yeah.
And all different areas within probably a 2 kilometre
probably
ish
mostly
stretch.
in Burkina Gorge, though.
Yeah,
they were. Yeah.
It was. Yeah, they were impressive to see, and the different size ones. You could tell that some of these ones were
juveniles,
the youngsters. Like, I'll call them teenagers, and then you could see the adults. Is that where we also see it? We saw a bubba in a pouch.
Yep, we did.
On one of those 2 days as well. So yeah, it was fun to watch them.
You're still my cute little emu, though. The emus remind me of Daryl. Long,
and
lanky
that's
legs.
Enough said. I might just cut this bit out. Then again, I might not.
Okay. Shall we move on to the next question?
Yes. Here we go. Question number 4. The worst driving experience in our 8,500-ish kilometres.
Well, since I drove literally 100 kilometres, 100 metres of that probably, not even 100 kilometres. Daryl's done most of the driving, all of the driving, can't read there. I think mine and yours will probably be the same in this respect.
And what's that?
The Fink. Only because you were so tense I was too scared to talk to you. His knuckles were white on the thing and he was sitting like this, like a granny driving, and it was very nerve-wracking because Daryl's usually quite relaxed when he drives, and he was not at all relaxed during that trip.
Yeah, when we're talking about the Fink, we're talking from Alice Springs down to Fink, the little township. We went down the Old Garn Rail Trail.
And I would have much rather been on the Fink racetrack.
The Fink racetrack actually looked a lot better in places, yes. Anyway, we're on the old railway line, and it was not long being graded. And when they grade it, it brings up all the old rail spikes. These spikes, they're about 5 to 6 inches long and 3/4 of an inch or so square. And they're just laying all over the surface of the road. You drive along, you don't see them, and then all of a sudden there's one there and there's one there and there's one there, and you don't want to hit these with your tyres. They will rip the sidewall out of your tyre, and that's not an exaggeration. It happened to my cousin in his truck with proper truck tyres. $1,000 tyre in the bin. So you don't want to hit these things. So we're driving along, and yeah, the most intense 3 hours of driving of my life ever. 180 kilometres of just looking for these pegs. Connie got to do the sightseeing. At the same time, there's another set of eyes looking for these spikes on the road. That was, wow. I don't know if I'll ever forget that, or the feeling of driving along just so tense as where am I going to go, and you go this way to miss this one, and then all of a sudden there's one just there and you go, oh gosh, I hope I didn't get it, and you're looking at your tyre monitoring system and like, yeah, it's all right, it's not beeping at me, good, keep, oh.
And I was prepared for the Plenty to be bad, and this was plenty worse than the Plenty. It was scary shit.
Yeah, the Plenty was lots of corrugations. That's why it's called, to me, that's why it's called the Plenty Highway anyway. This, driving down this 180 kilometres, yeah, intense. If you get the opportunity to do it, I still suggest doing it. Just be prepared that you're going to drive along at about no more than about 60 kilometres an hour, so that you've got a good chance of seeing them, especially if it's fairly recently graded. And for us, it had been graded not long before we got there. There was just, these spikes were all over the place. It was incredible. You go along for a while, oh yeah, this is pretty good, not a problem. And then boom, they're just everywhere like landmines, like, oh, strikes. That was the worst part of the drive that we've had. And I'm in no hurry to repeat.
Okay, so if that Fink was our worst driving experience, question 5, what is our best driving experience for you?
Best driving experience? We'd made it most of the way across the Plenty Highway, and we wanted to go up to, what was it called, the Boxhole Meteor Crater, words to that effect, I don't remember the exact name. And to drive up there, we had to drive up part of the Bins track. And the Bins track is another one of these iconic desert tracks. And even though it was corrugated, we drove about 2 kilometres and stopped and let all the tyres down. We're out on the Bins track, and to me that was special, that here we are on the Bins track with, you know, Eddie the Everest and Audrey the Icon, and we're just wandering up there to go to this box crater right out in the middle of Australia, middle of the desert. To me, that was pretty special to be able to do that, even though we only did 50 odd Ks, I think, of the Bins track. It was pretty special.
Okay.
And for you?
I think mine was when we left Marla and we did the drive into Arkaringa and come over the hill. So driving through the valley before we even got to that hill that I just did the wow, and it's on camera, I know that I did the oh wow, but driving through and you had ridges of mountains down either side, and they were all different colours, and even though we drove back the next day and it looked totally different colours, but we're driving through, and then all of a sudden you come to a peak, and right out in front of you is the painted desert, and you know, you're driving down towards that for the next bit of the trip till you get to it. It was just awesome. So I think that and the trip back up the next day where we saw it the other way and back in again, it didn't change. Like it still made it a really awesome trip, and it's one you could just go wow, 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 and you see different things every time. So. Yeah,
the dash cam actually got, as we crested this ridge, the dash cam. We've been talking about all the rock and the greenery and all that on either side of the road as we're driving in, like dirt road. And next thing, Connie just totally changes tack and it's like, oh wow, there's this huge intake. Oh wow, I'll see if I can dig the bit of footage out. We might even be able to stick it in here just so you can just see you'll be able to see what we saw, and you can get Connie's true reaction. Because it sort of caught me by surprise just how much it grabbed her attention.
Even the rocks are pretty cool.
I was looking over there then as we come over it.
It's pretty colours.
It was spectacular out there.
But that was a really nice road in. And like considering we were going to get to camp late and we were a little concerned about that, it just made up for it. It was beautiful. Yeah,
it was worth then stopping for a couple of minutes to take a couple of photos and just to suck it in. For sure.
True.
Okay, question 6. Sunsets. What was your best / favourite sunset that we've had thus far? Being that we're at the end of our holiday.
The one that blew me away the most would have to be Menindee Lakes. It was like the lake was on fire. It was so impressive. Like we got it on film, but seeing it with your eyes was just, and some of the shots that I managed to get with the pelicans floating through the fire, and but it changed so much because it went from that yellow to the bright orange, then it dulled back to the pinks, and it was just awesome. I sat and watched the whole sunset, and usually I set a camera and go walk away, but I just sat and watched it. It was just incredible.
Connie I was using this camera to do a time lapse to see if we could get some of it, and Connie just used her phone to take a few photos, and the phone didn't exaggerate the colours particularly much at all. So we've probably may have already shared those photos, I'm expecting. If you get the opportunity to duck back and have a look at the Menindee Lake photos, yeah, just the colours.
We had a nice one the other night at Glenriddle that was similar colours, the fires across the sky.
Yes.
On the clouds, but no, that one was just awesome.
It was so much of it, and it was on the water and reflected in the water as well, wasn't it? Yes.
So you had a double whammy.
Yeah. It mirrored the lake, just mirrored it up because there's so much water out there, having come down the Darling, etc., into the lakes. It was great to see it all reflected like that. For me, best sunset. I was umming and ahhing about saying that one originally when we were talking about doing these questions, and then I thought about it a little bit more, and my favourite sunset was Stokes Lookout. When we were at Flinders Ranges, there's a lookout. A lookout there. Yeah, it was cold again because you're waiting for sunset up on top of a mountain, and we were able to get right up top, set up the time lapse, which I've probably already shared with you. And we sat there knowing that sunset was at about the 6 o'clock mark. And we waited, and we knew from the previous sunsets on this holiday that, it's really spectacular in the build-up to the actual sunset time and right about then. And we found a lot while we're out there. Wait another 20 to 30 minutes and you get another burst of different colours again. And we ran about an hour and a half worth of time lapse there from about 5 in the afternoon through till 6:30 at night, just so we get that full experience of it building up, getting the sunset, and then coming through and getting that second burst. And because that was with a clear sky rather than a clouded sky, which would have given us all the lovely lots and lots of pinks and that we all love to see, and even that bright red, we got a lot of the golden colour anyway, just from the mountain range being over there and the sun having fallen down behind that and the beautiful clear sky above it. As soon as the sun set, within 5 minutes, everybody else had left, had the place to ourselves to finish the rest of that time lapse. And that ended up being my favourite sunset of the holiday, was Stokes Lookout, which you can look up. It's right near the Flinders Ranges National Park, and it's literally on a mountain that's part of the Willow Springs station. You drive out, along and back in. It's just a couple of kilometres.
Some pretty good lookouts.
It was really, for me, a fantastic sunset.
Okay, question 7. One place you'd like to go back to?
In 2 words, Aruna Valley.
So back in the Flinders.
Which is in the Flinders Ranges National Park. And the Aruna Valley comes off to the north side of the Burkina Gorge. When we drove up there just for a look that day, it was just a beautiful valley to drive through, lovely mountains either side. It was
lots of emus.
There were lots of emus, yep. There's a couple of campgrounds in there that we went and had a good look through, so we could, go there in the future. Site
2 at Aruna Valley for me, please.
Yep. And there's the old ruins that was up on the hill that person had, they'd built their homestead there, and has since turned to ruins. Just spectacular. I really look forward to being able to camp there so we can see the morning sun on that huge rock escarpment on the western side of the Aruna Valley. It's beautiful up in there, and it was so green because of all the rain that they've had over the last few months. It was totally different to when I went to the Flinders 7 years ago. Just so much green, and it was just beautiful in the Aruna Valley. And we'd originally planned to camp there, and then, like all good trips, lots of things changed, so our plans did as well. And I made a point that we went in there at least to have a look at the campground, and so glad we did. I look forward to the day we get back to the Flinders Ranges and go and stay in the Aruna Valley for at least a few days. What about you? What's the one place you'd go back to?
I'd go back to the Flinders in a heartbeat, but because you're already taking me back there, I don't need to say that one. So I'm going to say, even though it sounds really strange, Alice Springs, because I'd love to do the East McDonald's. They looked so fabulous when we were driving. We did not get very much time to explore them. We saw lots of little rocks and stuff, but and we went for a short four-wheel driving expedition, which only showed us more of the awesomeness that's out there to be seen. And so to have time to go and explore the McDonnell Ranges, or the Hart Ranges, either of those would be beautiful.
Well, the Hart Ranges are just up north a little bit,
off the Plenty.
Yeah, and when we drove in along the Plenty and saw those, they just jumped out at us. And we're looking on the maps. What's this? And the McDonald's Ranges. I'm lucky I've got a cousin who lives in Alice Springs, so he gives us some of the inside goss on what it's really like to go there, where to go, where not to go, etc. And I'd be very happy to go back there and have a good amount of time to spend looking around not only the East McDonald's, also the West McDonald's, for sure.
Southeast.
Yeah, the East
looks spectacular.
It doesn't get talked about as much by lots of people. Yet there's so much beautiful scenery.
That's what we were looking over when we went out on that trip. So
yes, well that's right. We're just to the north of the East McDonald's there, or even on the edge of. So
we sort of got lost on that thing, but that's another story altogether. We were on a walking track instead of a driving track for part of it.
Maybe.
Allegedly,
supposedly.
We didn't know that till we got to the map that told us where to go, which is where we weren't.
Yes, we didn't want to go that way. We wanted to go that way, and we did.
But we went that way, and it was still worked out all right.
It was a great experience.
Yes.
There's all of these impromptus. Oh, all right, let's do this, and off we went. And so
Google
there we
let
go.
us down again. Who'd have thunk?
Alice Springs, we will be back. Okay, question number 8. Your most wow moment of the holiday. That's going to be hard to answer. I know I'm struggling to come up with an answer. What's your... if you can pick one.
I think, we were driving along, chattering away. We'd come across from, doing our Lake Eyre thing and whatnot. And we'd stopped at all these railway sidings and we'd been doing stuff. And all of a sudden you said to me, look out the side. And my first glimpse of the Flinders Ranges and stuff like that. When we looked out towards, we hadn't quite turned into Parachilna Gorge, but you said to me, look at it. And it was all there, and it was picturesque. It was a clear sky. It was just absolutely beautiful. And I got excited, because we finally got there. You've been telling me about Flinders for so long, so it's probably a wow moment for that reason. And you didn't lie to me. It was so beautiful, and I was really, really excited to go and explore and to stay there.
Yeah, the colours in the pictures and video don't do, as always, never do justice. And what Connie's talking about there is the northern part of the Flinders Ranges. We'd left Lee Creek getting fuel and groceries and heading down the highway there, and you come to the Gammon/Northern Flinders Ranges, and there they are. They're just so majestic. So, and I told her from 7 years ago that the colours there will blow you away, and they did. Yep.
What about you?
For me, the most wow moment, and I'm sort of struggling here.
Other than your eagle.
Yeah, it was very hard to go. Nothing was more wow for me in this entire holiday than that eagle soaring at Skytrek. Anyway, I can't keep harping on about that. Or can I? No, I won't. I will say that my next most wow moment was when we were at Walkaringa Goldfields. We'd set up camp and we're just nice and comfy there. One other car showed up and parked right over the other side of the hill, so you didn't know they existed. So effectively we had all the Goldfield ruins all the way down to the old hotel and all through the valley up to the next hill, all to ourselves. We're the only 2 people there as far as I was concerned. There's a little bit of cloud blew through in patches, nothing heavy, and we got a beautiful sunset with it. And then the cloud cleared enough that we were then able to just had a stargazing evening, second to none on this holiday. The amount of satellites we got to see, I lost count. It was just so clear. There's just no light pollution. And then during the night, you'd see like one car come up that dirt road, and you're like, yeah. So, and that was like the only car. It's just we were there and had the place to ourselves, and it was so picturesque, so beautiful. Like we could see for miles and miles and miles from there, and we did some more time lapse. So this is when I'm learning how to do time lapse, and got some time lapse of the sunset and the way it was working with the clouds and the chimney stack and everything there, all as part of the ruins. So a shout out to Matt and Lisa from Filthy Off-Road Adventures. They went out there last year on their trip in July, and them going to the Walker-Ringa Goldfields showed that one to me and put it on my list that we will call in there on this holiday, and so glad we did. It was beautiful.
My only thought about that was that next time we'll find an easier way to the camp spot than the way you went.
We took the adventurous way because, look, it says adventures at the end of our name, all right? And we did take the adventurous route from when we drove in off the main dirt to get into camp. We had a couple of
oopsie
moments that made us go, how do we get through here? And then we had some fun, and we did a little bit of video of some of the bits that were a bit of fun. And hopefully I've shared all that with you if they all turned out. Fingers crossed. And
I was out recording, I think.
Yes. It was a beautiful location, and somewhere I want to go back to as well and stay for at least a couple of nights. So
I'd like to stay at the hotel next time, though, not up in the golf.
Yeah, and because there's so much there to see, and we saw like hardly any of it. We were a little bit time constrained, really, by the time we got there and needed to leave, because we had to get away at a decent hour the next morning as well, and it just didn't work out to go, well, let's go wandering for hours. We didn't have that. So I look forward to going back there and spending at least a couple of nights and having a really good look around there. Even so, just the wow of the sky, the sunset, beautiful.
The history of the place.
Yeah,
it was a good spot. Okay, next question, question 9. Where was your favourite free camp, or almost free camp along the track?
Oh, okay.
You can have an almost free.
Oh, an almost. We had some $6 camps, which were lovely.
And some donation ones, and yeah.
Yep. Well, as you know, my favourite campground was Lambert Centre. So to pick a different spot, hello, beautiful cockatoos flying over. Gotta love living in Australia. Favourite camp then is Glen Riddle Reserve at the top of Split Rock Dam, which is just below the little town of Barraba. We had 3 nights there. Even though the weather was inclement, like we got a degree of rain there and quite a bit of wind, we just hunkered down and had a nice setup that kept us comfortable. We had an outlook over the top of the dam. Nothing was in front of us. It was us,
cows,
a bit of grass, the dam, and all the bird life,
cows,
and the cows that came around at all hours of the night. Yeah, Glen Riddle Reserve for sure, and we've been there twice now. I'd go back there tomorrow and stay for a week, not a problem. Just a really relaxing, free camp. And we were able to get away from where everybody else was camped. The toilet block was all the way over here, so a lot of people congregated in that general area, and we were able to get all the way over here. We would have been 150 metres at least away from them.
Couldn't get the spot we had last time because it was underwater, so
yes,
to get a different spot this time to last time.
If you look up our holiday from 2024, that was our second night was at Glen Riddle, and yeah, where Audrey was parked then, that was underwater this time. The dam was 100%, and you could see that it had been a little bit more full, and they've obviously let some water out, and you can just see all the edges were quite slushy. You didn't want to, you couldn't walk to the edge of the water and not end up in mud.
With your toes, yeah.
Yeah, so Glen Riddle Reserve for me. How about for you?
Well, I liked Muttaburra, I was going to say there, but I think this the gravel pit at the side of the Unadilla was my favourite. Full moon, we had no cars going past after about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and nothing came through until about 7:30 the next morning. And you were isolated, and there was nothing around. We had the clearest sky, and we would have been able to see satellites if it wasn't for the moon, but the moon was huge that night. And absolutely beautiful. It did not need to put lights on outside.
No, because that's where we watched as the sun was setting, the moon was rising. It was a perfect teeter-totter of them. That that one didn't enter my idea as it was a gravel, just a gravel pit. I'm not sure if we were meant to camp there. We did. And that was a specky spot.
The sunset would have been good, but there was no clouds in the sky, so it was just blah really. But we took some nice shots through the trees.
Yes.
But the actual moon and the environment and how peaceful it was. The birds were the only noises that were had, and it was lovely. I thought it was a really nice spot.
Is that where we saw the Larry? No, that was Marshall River. I'm thinking, we saw the Larrys. Yeah. Unadilla track, just a gravel pit on the side. We were probably 100 metres in from the road, maybe.
But then there was no traffic anyway.
No, it was great. No dust.
No dust.
No noise. Okay.
So that's my pick of them.
How's this? We actually came up with 10 questions without actually aiming to have 10 questions.
Woohoo!
So question number 10 to you. What was your favourite point of interest?
Okay. Let me think about this. Burkina Gorge could be on the list, but the Anzac Memorial at Alice Springs was pretty good.
Well, yes.
I loved some of the little towns we went through, like Blindman and what was the last one we were just in? Oh, I can't even think of the name of the towns. They're all started with B. But what was it?
Bingara.
Bingara. And the one before that, Baraba. They're all got so much little things of interest in them, but I think the Painted Desert would have to take it for me.
Wow, yeah.
The ability, it's something that's underrated for what it is. They've got an excellent look out there that we drove up and took pictures out back over towards where we were camped and towards Akaringa station. But then you go up a little bit further, there's a little driveway in, and you get to climb all over it if you want to. And they've got these paths that wander through. We must have been there for about 2.5 hours easily, just wandering through and up and over. And then a bit that you'd take a photograph of down here, you climb around the corner, and now I'm standing on that bit. And it was weaving in about, but in amongst the colours and the gorgeousness of it all, it was just awesome to be able to do.
Yeah, and it's like you walk along that track and you go, how good's this? And you take a photo of it, and then you take another 20 steps and around the bend you go, holy strikes, and just more of this just below your way stuff. Again, that's Matt and Lisa, thank you there, because they went there last year as well, because I didn't even know about it. And Painted Desert, wow, put it on your list, people.
It's just from Akaringa. It's $20 a night to stay at Akaringa, the hot showers, camp wherever you want to, sort of thing, in their paddock area. Watch out when you're putting pegs in though, because it does make holes in pipes if you're not careful.
Hands up, who did it? I'm not the only person though, so it's all good.
Farmer was ready and knew how to fix it really quickly.
Yes.
But no, it was an awesome spot to camp, and you get to wake up and look out over that as well. And
yes.
Sunrise, sunset, whatever, over the top of it. So yeah, that's my favourite point of interest, I suppose, apart from naming all those other ones.
Yes, well, it was hard for me to go past all the Anzac memorials that we went to, which we didn't really concentrate on so much, yet I seemed to stumble across them, which was great.
I was looking them up for you.
Yeah, the small towns just put on such awesome memorials to remember those from, well over 100 years ago now.
It'd be nice to come back at a different time of year and see all those rose gardens with roses actually in them, because they'd pruned them all because it's winter. Yeah. And but some of them would be absolutely gorgeous to come back and see in the spring, later spring.
I think my favourite point of interest though, and I was nearly going to choose an Anzac Memorial, and I've decided there was a place I want to go back to and spend more time, and that was the old Tiger Moth Museum in Narrandera.
Yeah.
Where they've got a tiger moth from way back when.
Because they had all the training school out there during the war.
Yeah, during World War II it was a training school out at Narrandera, and they've rebuilt a tiger moth that was used back then, and there's a lot of history in that little building, old uniforms, old newspaper clippings. I'd like to go back there so I can spend a couple of hours, just spend more time so I can read through all that stuff rather than having to gloss over it as much as we did that day, because again we were a little bit time constrained to get to our destination that afternoon. So that one is like, yeah, that's probably my favourite point of interest.
There was
only so I'm not choosing an Anzac Memorial, otherwise like all the Anzac
lots of RAF stuff in there though.
There was, yeah. I really enjoyed having a look through there and reading the stories of some of the people from World War II and the training they went through, and then where they went and fought, and those who came home and those who did not. Yeah, it was pretty special to me. It was almost like an Anzac Memorial anyway when you start reading those stories.
Yeah, I found it quite impressive. Now we're going through.
Yeah.
But on the whole, the 6 weeks has been fabulous, and we could have kept going if only we didn't run out of time. And we've been through, 3 states?
Left Queensland, into the Territory, into South Australia, New South Wales.
Skimmed Victoria, but we didn't quite get there.
We got close-ish. Close-ish was enough for this time. And yeah, now back in Queensland.
And
we're already planning next year's holiday. So that's going to kick off in about 10 months or so from now, that holiday.
So maybe we'll do another 10 questions after we do that holiday.
That could be a good thing. Maybe we should keep that little excerpt off that piece of paper there. I've had an absolute ball. Even that intense driving on the Fink, it made it all part of what was such a special holiday. It's like the only thing I'd take out is Eddie getting a sore foot.
Yeah.
Eddie the Everest getting a flat tyre, and it cut it bad enough that it's got to go in the bin. Other than that, though, I don't really think
we had beautiful weather. We were in shorts and T-shirts most of the time. We didn't take enough of them, but could have gone to Kmart, I suppose. Yeah. But yeah, it was an awesome trip.
Yeah, we ended up with a lot more warm weather than we expected. We were expecting a lot more winter weather. And you can see we're in shorts and T-shirt because we're home now and it's shorts and T-shirt. And we've been in shorts and T-shirts so much, it's only been the miserable days where we've had longs on throughout the day.
I mean, cool at night. Don't get me wrong, we did need to have it. We carried a diesel heater 8,500 kilometres and haven't used it. But if we didn't have it, probably would have needed it.
Yep.
So there's some things you could cut back on, and yeah, we might try a warm holiday next year, hey?
Well, that's the plan. Warm holiday. Not going to tell you where, not going to tell you what state. Yeah. It will be epic. What we've just done, though, fantastic. Like I still remember clear as a bell, we left at 3 o'clock in the morning on the Thursday, the 31st of July.
Cheering.
And it was like, yes, here we go. Day one of our 6.5-ish weeks holiday. And now we're home. And it's like, damn, it's over. And day one feels like forever ago. And I see that as being a good thing because it's so long ago and it's been so enjoyable. And at the same time, it's like, damn, this holiday's over. Back to responsibilities as such at home rather than out enjoying ourselves as much as we did.
Just think of it as earning the next holiday.
Yeah, all the money that I earn doing the bits and pieces I do is so I can buy diesel to put into the car, hook up Audrey, and off we go. That's all I want to do is buy diesel.
Anyway, we better let them all go now, and we better get to cleaning this van up. So we're ready for our next camp, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you so much for following along and all your words of encouragement. And yeah, the little likes and comments and that you're throwing at us, they
they always surprise me, and we are thankful. We're not saying that just so we get more. It's the truth. That's the way we feel about it, and we're glad that you enjoy what we're doing. I like to think what we're doing is a bit different to all the big time YouTuber bloggers and whatever they call themselves. There's no drone footage with us. It's all from the camera or from the phone, and that's the way it's going to keep being. Is you'll see it the way we see it. So if hopefully we can encourage you to get out there and do it yourself, and you'll get to see what we saw. So until next time, happy travels, and we hope we see you on the track sometime. Bye.
Bye.